Paris.
Here you go.
Well, I could go on this one, but as any of Paris' teachers know, when she first came in, that first couple of days in the fall, she seemed a little bit out of sorts, and we were, oh boy, is she going to make it? I don't know about this girl. The growth that we have seen in Paris over the last 3 quarters has just been astounding, and I know she's going to continue that over the 4th quarter. Some of the highlights, I love that, like especially in advisory, you don't just get an answer from Paris, you get a story from Paris, often with lots of laughs. She will take questions, she will explain the whole thing. And same in history class, which I really appreciate. You don't just get the right answer, you get an explanation, and mostly you get really thoughtful questions, which I appreciate. So, I'm going to give Paris the stage because I know that she needs to get started. You're going to enjoy this. Paris Moon.
When I realized I had to stand in front of everyone here and talk about myself for 10 minutes, I was completely terrified. When working on the Me project, it didn't seem like I would actually be doing this till about 10 minutes ago. Although, the part that I struggled with the most was finding a quote. Seriously, it took me 2 months to find a quote. So I thought about what I've learned the most in middle school, and I would say that it is probably that everyone makes mistakes. As I'm sure pretty much anyone here will say, middle school is filled with a ton of mistakes. At the time, they are super embarrassing, but for the most part, everyone forgets about them the next day. Unless you get a spray can. In 6th grade, I tried so hard not to make mistakes and was mortified if I did. Yet over the years, I have discovered that in fact, I will not die if I get a bad grade on a test or miss a shot in a field hockey game. That is why when I found this quote, I knew I had to use it. Success is stumbling from failure to failure, no loss of enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. Coming to collegiate, I struggled at first, but was soon able to get the hang of it. However, I never lost my positive attitude, which I believe makes me who I am. Growing up, I've attempted to play numerous sports, and a few have been successful, not including my brief attempt to become a professional roller skater in 3rd grade, where I broke my arm. Needless to say, my skating aspirations were crushed. I have always had a competitive nature, whether it's beating my younger brother at soccer in our backyard or cahoots in class. Because of this, I really enjoy sports. Throughout middle school, I've discovered that there are some sports that I'm better at than others. Simply put, basketball is not something I should pursue. Especially after my well-known faceplant in PE, which resulted in 4 stitches in my lip. Ever since I was 7, I've loved playing field hockey. It all started at Mockingbird after I tried to play soccer but wasn't very good. I mean, even for a 1st grader. So, instead I signed up for field hockey, which I immediately loved, and have played ever since. In August, I had my first practice at Collegiate, where I met some of my soon-to-be classmates. I was so nervous, but it ended up being really fun. One of the many reasons why I love field hockey is because it is a team sport, which allowed me to become closer to my teammates, and even makes 100-degree practices more fun. Throughout the season, I improved a lot on my stick skills, especially air dribbling, something that was borderline dangerous for me to do at the beginning of the season. Another sport I have played for a while is tennis. You see, when I was 6, my mom signed me up for tennis lessons, and I absolutely loathed it. I'm not sure if you have ever seen a 6-year-old play tennis, but it really is just them standing there failing to hit the ball with a racket. And my 6-year-old self had the attention span of a goldfish. So I found tennis quite boring. However, I'm very thankful I played tennis and probably wouldn't have if I hadn't been forced into it first. Thanks, Mom. It wasn't until it became competitive that I enjoyed it. My best skill is probably my serve, but my backhand needs some improvements. In practices, I used to avoid hitting a backhand at all costs. I soon realized that I'm not going to improve if I don't try. Now, there's a solid 50% chance that I'll hit an okay backhand. Luckily, I enjoy it much more than I did when I was 6. Okay, so academic-wise at Collegiate was a challenge at first. I mean, I definitely acquired a new skill called time management. At the beginning of the year, I really struggled with balancing all of my assignments. This is something that has never come naturally to me due to my tendency to procrastinate. This year, I have figured out how to be more productive with my time, and I really like the block scheduling, and the fact that we get a 75-minute study hall every other day, during which I try my best not to procrastinate. Over the course of this year, I've improved a lot in English. You see, I've never been an avid reader. Because of this, or because I have a hard time sitting down and reading a book for long periods of time. This has affected my comprehension skills. I would always be lost or confused by the plot of the book. However, a skill that has helped my comprehension a lot is annotating. Though I don't always enjoy annotating, it has helped me be able to follow more of what is going on in the book. This year, I have also improved my vocabulary tremendously, such as being able to talk without saying like a million times per sentence. I believe this has caused my writing to become more clear and improved, not only in my papers for English, but in other classes as well. My favorite subject, however, has always been history, not including geography, because up until not too long ago, I considered Amsterdam a country. Don't worry, I am now very well aware that it is a city in the Netherlands. History is something I find very interesting, especially U.S. history, which we learned all about this year in Mr. Hoff's class. I was most interested in the events leading up to the Civil War. I found this interesting because it amazes me how a few events can change all of history. I look forward to learning more about U.S. history in upper school, but I'm certain I will miss all the crosswords, which weren't always my favorite, but did cause me to become more prepared for the test. Travel has always been something I love. My family and I always go on really cool trips, like visiting Colorado or Connecticut, but my favorite has always been going to the Bahamas. I have been going there ever since I was born. We go to a small island in the Abacos called Green Turtle Cay. It has given me a broader view of the world and caused me to become more culturally aware. While we are down there, I enjoy deep sea fishing and trying new foods and visiting the central town on the island, where I like exploring shops and seeing the interesting trinkets they have. Although my time there is mainly spent by the beach or at the pool, at least once during our trip we'll go to Lincoln Park, which is a smaller island where there aren't any people who actually live there. Here we go snorkeling with stingrays. This is so cool and a little nerve-wracking at first. Overall, I will never forget these experiences, and I'm so grateful I am able to travel. Now, I know pretty much every other me project ever talks about how great their friends are, and well, mine is no different. Sorry. Really, I believe my friends make up who I am. Without them, I would be way different. I can always count on them to make me laugh. Switching schools at any time is never easy. To me, I was most nervous about making new friends. I was so intimidated at the beginning of the year because I thought since everyone had known each other for years, no one would talk to me. I am a very loud and outgoing person around people I'm close to, but around others, I'm a completely different person. This year, I've definitely grown a lot and feel more comfortable talking to new people. And I can now tell you that at the beginning of the year, I was so wrong. Everyone was really friendly and welcoming. This year, I have made many new friendships I hope will last, and I'm glad that I came to Collegiate and met a ton of great people who make me glad to come to school. Unlike some people, I haven't known what I wanted to do with my life since I was 6. Growing up, I have always hated the question, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'd give some generic answer like a veterinarian or a ballerina. I have gone through many different phases and my interests have changed quite a bit. Ballet, gymnastics, soccer, swimming, piano, horseback riding, cross-country, just to name a few. I am glad that I've tried these things because I've learned many different things from these activities. Like gymnastics taught me, if you can't do a back handspring on the ground, you probably won't be able to do one on a beam. Or how swimming taught me the importance of goggles and chlorinated water. And I'm truly glad I played the piano because it allowed me to realize that I am not the most musically talented person here. Throughout my middle school career, there have been so many trends that have come and gone. Looking back on my 6th grade self, I often ask, what was I thinking, or why did I wear so many headbands? This year alone, I have undoubtedly changed, but I truly believe I have changed for the better. At the beginning of the year, I was so worried about making friends and cared a ridiculous amount of what others thought of me. In case you were wondering, I feel very self-conscious. This year, I realized that no one cares about you as much as you do. I have learned to be able to laugh at myself and not worry about people judging me because no one is more critical than yourself. This has made me more outgoing and willing to try things I haven't done before, even if I might look dumb in the process. So, my mom said I should talk more about my brother, and well, here it is. My brother Stephen and I are nothing alike. We also don't get along at all. However, at the start of middle school, or since the start of middle school, we have gotten along better. Now there are rare times where we will get along and manage to not kill each other for 10 minutes, which is somewhat fun until one of us does something to annoy the other one, and which results in us fighting. Even though we don't get along, Stephen, you are actually a decent person. And honestly, this is probably karma for me calling you Stephanie till you were 3. Sorry about that. I would like to dedicate my Me project to my parents, because without them, I would not be who I am today. You guys have done so much for me, including, but not limited to, not disowning me when I don't listen, even if you're right, being patient with me and letting me adjust to a new school by not getting frustrated with me for every not so great grade I got on an assignment, driving me places, even though you probably can't wait for me to be able to drive myself, only 3 more years, and allowing me the privilege of attending this school. I don't think I can tell you enough how thankful I am to have parents who care so much about my education. So I wasn't exactly sure who to do my other dedication for. However, I decided to give it to someone who has made me a better person, and someone I can always count on for advice, Ellie J. I've known her all my life and think that she definitely deserves a shout out, because she has influenced me to become more outgoing and bold. She also has probably affected my sense of humor and taste in music, so thanks, Ellie. It is always so much fun when you're in town, whether it's late night Starbucks runs or going to the pool with you and Greta. Finally, thank you to my advisor, Mr. Haas, for putting up with me all year. I mean, I know I can be a little trying at times, but seriously, I'm glad to be in your advisory and think that it is never dull. I believe this project has shown my quote in many aspects, like how I never gave up, even if I was struggling with something like school or sports. As long as I kept a positive mindset, I would succeed, because that is what success is. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Thank you for listening to my news project.